All right, so now we're going to play around with the bust. So if I tap on that template, it comes up. I'm moving the model around by using one finger outside of the model to rotate it. And if I use two fingers outside of the model, I can move it up and down and sideways. So in my right hand, I'm holding the Apple Pencil, and my left hand is hovering over the icons on the lower left of the screen. And we'll see why in a minute. So in the top left of the screen, you can see that the standard brush is chosen, and you can pick other tools from that menu. Or on the right side of the screen, you can see the tools are listed there as well. Just below on the left-hand side are sliders that will adjust the size of the brush and the strength. So I'll just put those there and see what happens. Now if I start drawing on the model, you can see that the surface is rising up. If and I guess the other thing you'll notice right away is that it's symmetrical. You'll see there's a light line down the center of the model. On the top of the screen, you'll see the X axis is highlighted. If I tap on that, you can see that the symmetry is enabled. I can disengage that if I want, but I'm going to keep it on. And you can choose symmetry around the Y and Z axes as well, but I'm going to leave it the way it is now so that when I make changes, they'll be reflected on both sides. On the left side of the screen, the plus and minus sign will toggle the tool that you're using to its reverse. So if I tap and hold on the plus and minus sign with my left thumb and I move along the model, you can see what it's doing is instead of raising the surface, it's decreasing it. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, I'm going to choose another tool, the Move tool, because that makes larger changes to the model, and I'm going to build out the throat here and switch back to standard and try to inflate that. One of the reasons is because I'm lazy, and when I print this model, I don't want any overhangs if I can avoid it, because I'll have to use supports. But we know that the printer can handle up to a 45-degree angle without needing supports. So that's why I gave this guy sort of some jowls hanging down here. And I can do something similar to the nose, but instead of making the nose, the middle part of the nose hanging down, I'm going to push it in. So remember, the opposite of pulling it out is pushing it in, but I don't want to cut a crease in the nose. So what I'm going to do instead is on the lower left side, the wavy line icon, if I depress that, what that does is smooths. So it kind of and it smooths by pushing in. So I'm going to sort of push this nose in so that it's kind of a flat type of effect here. And I'm actually going to do the same with the ears. I'll make the brush a little bit bigger, holding down the smooth brush, and just kind of making the ear disappear into a sort of vestigial ear. Okay. So I can continue to work on my model and add some more, whatever detail I like. Smooth it out. Let's see. One thing I want to do is, because I'm going to print this, I would like to have extra material at the bottom that I can cut horizontally flat, so it'll sit flat on the print surface. So to accomplish that, I'm going to choose Move again, and I'm just going to drag this material down. So, and I know the intent is eventually I'll cut it horizontally. Let's see. So I'm going to allow quite a bit of extra stuff. It's going to look odd, but again, I know I'm going to be cutting a large amount of that away before I print. So the back of the head looks a little plain. Whoops, I don't want to do that. So there's right below the sliders are undo and redo buttons, so I can very easily undo that. I was still using Move, which I didn't want, so I'm going to choose Standard again and just kind of build some kind of weird spine here. Maybe I'll give them some knobs. So let's see, I can decrease the brush size and increase the strength. And let's see. That's not the effect I was looking for. Like that. Yeah, give them some. Some weird knobs there. Okay, obviously you could go to town and spend all sorts of time working on this, but we'll call it good enough. And I'm going to, well, I guess the first thing I'll do is tap Save, and I'll choose Save As. I could have chosen just Save because it's the first time I'm saving this model. You would choose Save As if you wanted to save it as a different, different version. I'll just call it Alien. Okay. So now if I go back to the start screen, I'll tap on the Alien to reopen it, and I could work on it some more, and I could save it as a different version if I wish. But I am going to choose the export icon at the top, and 3D model, and OBJ. For some reason, FlashPrint seems to prefer an object model as opposed to a file in STL format when exported from Forger. Not entirely sure why, but we'll stick with that. And I will give it a name and choose Export and airdrop it to my Mac. Now, you may have noticed something strange there, or unusual. When I chose to export, bust is checked, but not eyes. So what is going on there? If I go back and I tap on the Objects menu, you'll see that there are actually two models here. The bust, which I can hide by tapping on the eye icon, and you can see that the eyes are actually a separate model. So if I turn those off and we just look at the bust by itself, you can zoom in, and you can see that there are hollows in there now. which is fine. You know, that might make the print, give it a more distinct look. But you might also run into issues with lack of support there. So the filament inside may droop down and give you an undesirable effect, or you may need to add some tiny supports in there and dig them out to to support that interior space. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to turn the eyes back on, and I'm going to export the model again as an OBJ, but this time I'm going to select both so that I'm exporting both the eyes and the bust. And I will call it alien with eyes. Export. AirDrop to my MacBook. Now we can take a look at the file on the MacBook and open it up in FlashPrint and get it ready for printing.